All right, let's talk about something every single tomato grower needs to know. We're going to dig into the science behind bottom pruning. And trust me, this is way more than just some simple gardening chore. It's actually a strategic defense against an invisible enemy hiding right in your soil.
Okay, that sounds pretty dramatic, right? A silent killer? But here's the thing, it's totally scientifically accurate. There's a microscopic war that can break out every single time you water your plants. And that one simple spot where a leaf touches the soil, that's an open door for a full-scale invasion.
So if you want to win this war, you've got to understand the battlefield. You see, the soil in your garden, it's not just dirt, it's a whole living ecosystem. And unfortunately, that ecosystem is also a perfect hiding spot for these ancient fungal enemies, just waiting for their chance to strike.
So let's meet our main villain, Alternia solani. This is the fungus that causes that dreaded disease, early blight. And what's wild is just how tough its spores are. I mean, they can hang out for years in old garden debris, just dormant, waiting for the right moment.
But here's the key, and this is super important. These spores, well, they can't move on their own. They don't have wings, they don't have legs. They completely rely on something else to give them a ride. And that, right there, is their biggest weakness. It's the secret to how we can beat them.
So how do these free-loading spores get around? Well, unfortunately, the very thing your plants need to survive, water, is the exact transit system these bad guys use. It's crazy, right? Every single time it rains, or even when you just use your watering can, you could actually be arming the enemy.
Let's break down the physics for a second. When a single drop of water hits bare soil, it's not some gentle, peaceful event. Oh no. It hits with force. It's literally like a tiny kinetic bomb exploding, and it blasts soil particles and all their microscopic hitchhikers right up into the air.
And that explosion creates a very specific danger zone. We're talking about that area from ground level up to about 12 inches. Any leaf hanging down in that zone is a sitting duck. It's basically the landing strip for this fungal invasion. And the moment those spores land on a wet leaf, a biological countdown clock starts ticking. The moisture is all they need to germinate, and then they literally burrow into the leaf tissue. And before you know it, you start seeing those telltale signs, those ugly brown target-shaped spots. That's early blight taking hold.
Okay, but this is where we get to fight back. And we're gonna use science. Bottom pruning isn't just about making your plant look pretty. It's a brilliant, multi-layered defense strategy that hits this pathogen right where it hurts.
Just by snipping off those lower leaves, we get 3 huge advantages. First, you get rid of the landing pads in that splash zone. Boom, gone. Second, you improve airflow like crazy around the base of the plant. And third, you basically tell the plant, hey, stop wasting energy down here and send it up to the fruit. Just look at the difference here. An unpruned plant base, it's a swamp. Stagnant, humid air, it's a 5-star hotel for fungus. But a pruned base, totally different story. You've got great airflow, which means dry leaves, and you're rerouting all that precious energy away from those useless lower leaves and straight to making delicious tomatoes.
Okay, so when do you actually do this? Timing is everything. And luckily, the plant gives you a perfect signal. Just wait until you see that first little cluster of flowers, or even tiny baby tomatoes. Once you see that, everything below it is fair game. Go for it.
All right, so we've covered the why. Now let's get into the how. And you're going to want to follow these steps exactly, because it'll make sure you get all the good stuff without accidentally stressing out your plant.
Step 1, pick your day. You want a nice, dry, sunny morning. That helps the little cuts heal up fast. Step 2, and seriously, don't skip this, sterilize your tools. A quick wipe with alcohol between each plant stops you from spreading disease. Step 3, make the cut. Get rid of all the leaves and suckers in that bottom 10 to 12-inch splash zone. And finally, step 4, add your secret weapon, the mulch shield. It's so simple, but so effective. Just a 2 or 3-inch layer of straw or wood chips. It acts like a giant cushion, a shock absorber for those raindrop bombs. It completely stops the splash, meaning no soil and no spores can ever make it up to the leaves. Game over for the fungus. Now, even when you know what to do, it's pretty easy to fall into a few common traps that can mess everything up. So let's talk about the biggest mistakes people make so you can steer clear of them. Here's a huge one. Do you prune all tomato plants the same way? I mean, a tomato is a tomato, right? Wrong. The answer is a big, fat no. Their growth habits are completely different. This is what I call the determinate blunder. Determinate tomatoes, those are the bushier types, like Romas, they grow to a specific size and then stop. If you go crazy and prune them like the vining types, you're literally cutting off their solar panels. You'll end up with a tiny harvest. So for these guys, only prune the leaves that are physically touching the dirt or are yellowing. That's it.
Okay, another super important question. You've done your pruning, you've got this pile of leaves on the ground. So, what now? What you do with these clippings is just as critical as the pruning itself.
You've got to remember, those leaves could be covered in invisible spores. If you just leave them there, you're basically creating a little landmine of fungus right at the foot of your plant. So, get them out of the garden completely. And whatever you do, do not throw them in your compost pile. Your home compost just doesn't get hot enough to kill the spores. Your best bet? Back them up and trash them.
And one last thing. Don't freak out if your tomato plant looks a little droopy or sad for a day or two after you prune it. That's totally normal. It's just a little bit of shock. Give it about 10 days to 2 weeks. It'll bounce back and actually start pushing out even stronger growth up top. It's all part of the process.
I love this because it really changes how you think about gardening, right? When you understand the science behind it, you're not just passively growing tomatoes anymore. You're an active manager of this amazing little fruit factory. You're controlling airflow, you're stopping threats, and you're telling the plant exactly where to send its energy.
So by taking care of that splash zone, you've already won a huge battle against a major invisible enemy. It kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other hidden, microscopic battles are happening in your garden right now? Something to think about. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer.